everyone, and welcome to the Love Like Crazy podcast. We're your hosts, Jay and Stacey Coleman, and we're here today with a good friend of ours who is a member of our church, but also a local business owner. And so we're going to just jump in and have a great conversation with him today.
All right, whoa, Stacey. I got to tell you, before we dive off into this, I do want to talk to all the ones who are watching this and just tell you how much we appreciate you. You guys have helped us to build this podcast, and it's growing week after week. And I just want to say thank you. And so do me a favor, help us continue to move forward by liking this, by giving us a review, maybe even giving us a comment. Maybe you have an idea of something you'd like to hear us talk about. And so with that, leave us a comment. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure that you subscribe. That helps upcoming episodes. It'll let you know what we have coming up, but it also helps us to grow our YouTube channel as well. And so Stacey's right. And I noticed you talked about that because you said a good friend. It seems like we say that about all of our, because it's good friends that we have on here.
We like to have good conversations with good friends.
Yeah. And Ben, I'm going to let you introduce yourself to everybody, but you and I actually, we're kind of joking about this. We met at the gym. Now you are a member of our church. You're one of the worship leaders. Yes. And we actually met you, or I met you at the gym. And I'm going to let you go ahead and kind of introduce yourself to everybody, but I'm going to come back in a few minutes because I have a great story about the gym that's so encouraging for me. So Ben, tell us about yourself. Tell us about your family and what's going on in the life of Ben Black.
Absolutely. Well, thank y'all for having me. Yeah, I'm very tempted to keep messing with this mic over and over again because I've never done this before. But
it's normal. It's normal.
I'm gonna do my best to not fidget. But my name is Ben Black. I am a chiropractor. But I was born and raised in Central, and I had the privilege of coming back and starting a business here, which has been really, really awesome, really encouraging. But I am married to Emily Black. We've been married it'll be 10 years in September 19th. I didn't forget. So just make sure
bonus
we note
points
that.
Right there.
Emily's like, yeah.
Point for me. We got two girls, Charlotte, who's 6. She's in kindergarten.
I've never seen kids that look more like their daddy.
Well, that's my dad's got a quote about that, and I'm not going to say it. And then, so she's 6. And then Cameron is 2, so she's not in school yet. She gets to hang out with my mom. Honey is her name.
That's
like
great.
It.
Yeah.
What do they call your dad?
Papa.
Papa
and
Honey.
just like you.
Okay,
we're Nana
work.
And Papa.
Okay.
So.
All right.
Now Emily's a school teacher in the community as well.
Yeah, she is. She's been a middle school teacher, well, longer than I've been a chiropractor. She was actually teaching when I was in school beforehand, so at least she was making money at that time. But yeah, she's been at Central Middle since we moved back in 2019. She teaches 6th grade science.
Loves what she does.
She does.
Well, it depends on the day.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, like any other job, probably, but yeah, she really does. I think she really has a calling for education and that
is a gifting to be able to work with kids like that.
I tell her every day I could never do what she does, and I mean it.
Well, we started talking about the direction of this particular episode, and I'm fascinated by what you do. There's a lot of things about your life that just really, speak to me. But you and I met at the gym. You were actually one of the coaches at the gym that I was going to. Went to that gym for 7 years and have actually taken a little break in this last year. But I know that you were CrossFit competitions, all that type of stuff. And the story that I'm going to tell is this. We were actually doing weight training. We were in the cycle of doing the weight training. And we got to the point to where one day we were doing bench press. You remember that day?
Oh, I know where this is going.
Okay, you know where this is going.
Yes, I remember this.
I don't know if I know this story.
We were doing bench press, and we were, and you can probably, if you're watching on YouTube, you can tell by the look of his arms versus my arms, like, yeah, because he's a big time weightlifter. I'm not so much. But when it came to bench press at that time, I was probably in the 220-ish neighborhood, probably maxing out at, I think that year I maxed out at like 255, something like that. Mm-hmm. And so we were working out and you and I were equal. Now on all the other stuff, squats, shoulder press, all that stuff, not so much.
Yeah.
But when it came to bench press, I remember that day, got on there and you're like, yeah, I'll work out with you because that's about where I'm at. And I'm like, really? I am bench
You-
pressing equal to the
you
great
felt
Ben
good about
Black.
yourself.
Great. Okay. All right.
And then you explained to me that, you had a shoulder injury earlier in life, and because of that, you can't bench press so much. And I'm like, I don't care. I'll take it. I will take it. Okay.
Yeah. No, that's a big reason I do what I do now, is actually connected to probably that shoulder injury. So
Okay.
that's,
Well, an injury
yeah.
for you was a life builder for me, because it made me feel like the strong man that day.
What an
Yeah.
encouragement.
But
Yeah.
now you're a chiropractor,
Mhm.
and I will tell you this: my wife has been all about chiropractors the whole time that we've been together, and I've shared this with you. My mom, I was raised like chiropractors; they stay away from them,
Right.
So
right.
for years, I didn't go to a chiropractor, but I had an injury in the gym, and a chiropractor is what got me up on my feet and got me moving again. And you've actually treated me quite a few times throughout the years. And so tell me okay, is that injury is what led you in that direction? Kind of lead us into this. Tell us why do you do what you do?
Yeah. So I was a big sports guy growing up. I always played multiple sports as a kid. My parents definitely ran me from practice to practice like mad people, and I appreciate them for that. But during that time, you're going to get injured. You're going to get injured sometimes, and so I was in high school. I was at Parkview, I believe, at the time, and I did something in the weightlifting room that probably shouldn't have been doing.
Yeah.
Didn't really know what I was doing all the way, and felt something in the shoulder. Didn't know what really happened, and I just kind of brushed it off. You're supposed to, just kind of
Be tough.
rub some dirt on
Yeah.
it.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And so that's what I did, and come to find out that doesn't really work. So it kept happening. So what happened originally, it kind of popped out of socket. I was doing a snatch actually.
Okay.
And it turned into popping out of socket while tackling people in practice. And then it just escalated from there. Junior year, ended up having to get surgery because it just wouldn't stay in socket. And 3 months into recovery, I did PT. So that was my first experience with recovery, rehab, that kind of thing. Really enjoyed it. The people there were great. I believe it was Morrow, who's still around today in Central. But so I went through that, went back to football senior year, injured it, immediately. So I ended up having to deal with that for years. I didn't want to get surgery again. It wasn't fun the first time. Couldn't imagine it would be fun the second time. And so I just kind of lived with it for a while.
Yeah.
And that got me to college, and eventually got it fixed for real a year into CrossFit, believe it or not. And people always ask, like, because I was in CrossFit for a long time, and they would always ask, "Oh, you must have injured it doing CrossFit." And I used to enjoy telling them, actually, no, and then tell them that whole story. But during that time, I just got to experience physical therapy,
Yeah.
right? Which is not what I do. I mean, there are a lot of similarities, but it's not necessarily what I ended up at. But I had an interest in that field, so I went into kinesiology eventually, actually. So this is going to be a longer story, but I actually started as a vocal performance major at Southeastern.
Really? That's what my degree is in, vocal performance.
Yeah. So I did that for a year.
That's a long journey from vocal performance to chiropractic care.
Yeah. Tell me about it. Southeastern was not a 4-year degree for me. It was 5.5. But yeah, so I pretty much got a minor in vocal performance.
And you're using both.
And
Now?
So, God works in mysterious ways.
I
as they
love
say.
that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I did, that was my first year. And then I just decided at one point, I was like, look, this isn't what I want to get my full degree in. And then I ended up doing kinesiology. And that's when I found, I was a junior in college, didn't really know what I was going to do. At that point, I was kind of like, man, maybe physical therapy isn't the way I want to go. But I didn't know what to, go to next. And so this guy was given a talk on chiropractic, and he was a recruiter for one of the universities, Life University in Marietta, Georgia, actually. And so I was like, well, I don't have anything else to do, I'll just go listen to this guy, I guess. And that was my first intro to chiropractic care, just listening to him talk. And I was like intrigued, I guess. I didn't really know what to think about it. Had never experienced it. So I said, well, I'm going to go experience it. And come to find out, my dad was seeing a chiropractor at the time.
Okay.
It's one that y'all know
Yeah.
well.
It's the one who got me walking again.
Yeah. Dr. Fred Rodriguez, he's still in the area, still doing what he does. And he was the first man to ever adjust me. And like I said, I was in CrossFit already. And so I left his office that day after he adjusted me. We talked, I just picked his brain. And then I went directly to the gym in Ponchatoula because I was living out there, and I had to max out on back squat that day. And my back squat went up roughly 50 pounds. And I knew I'd been training, and I was like, okay, I could see maybe 15, 20 pound jump, but 50 pounds, I was like, that's a lot. And, and that was just and you don't look at that and say, oh, that had to have been all, that adjustment that just happened, but there was something to it. There was something going on there. And so I ended up working for a chiropractor after that. I was like, well, I really want to know the ins and outs of this. And that's where I kind of decided, and I kind of fell in love with what they did and how they interacted with their people, their patients, and the results that they got. I mean, the results are obviously a part of it. So,
well, I know, like I said earlier, through the years you worked on me and Stacey both, and I'm not as much. She's like we were joking about. She's a crack addict.
I'm a crack addict.
Yeah, she likes to have her back and all that stuff cracked, and I'm not into that. But I love it whenever you needle me.
Right.
You stick all those little.
Well, it took you being in a lot of pain to say, okay, I'm going to give in and I'm going to go and see if a chiropractor could help you, and it did. So,
well, my good friend, Damien, he came. I was like literally could not get out of bed.
Right.
And I was hurting, could not get out of bed, spent like several days in bed. He came and got me, put me in the car and hauled me to Fred's. And it was kind of funny because there was nobody there whenever I got there. He takes me back, he works on me, and I hollered and screamed for like 30 to 45 minutes because I was hurting so bad. And I walk out and there's like 5 people in the waiting room, and their eyes they're like, oh my God, what's he going to do to us? But I had to have somebody help me in, and I walked out, and over the course of several days, he got me walking again. And so it kind of showed me, and it's funny now because I talked to Mom and I'm like, made a comment about our chiropractor. Oh yeah, chiropractors, they're pretty. I'm like,
now she's a believer.
Yeah, you raised me like chiropractors are like witch doctors, and now
what changed?
What changed? Yeah. But it's like after that, she had gone to nursing school and understands the value of that.
Well, there was probably a time when it wasn't as popular of a profession, and now it's,
and I would
there's
say
more about knowing about it. Yeah,
it's still not super popular, I would say, but it's more popular than it was. Absolutely.
Well, especially with like you said, in the sports field, in rehab for sports injuries and stuff like that. But I mean, it's for all types of injuries.
Absolutely. Right. And I think that really the reason I wanted to have you on here is because whenever we start thinking about being healthy, we did an episode on self-care. And if you've not watched that episode, you need to go back and check it out. But we were really talking about spiritual care and mental and all that kind of learning to rest. But I really kind of wanted this one to be on health and things of that, like taking care of ourselves in that way. And I think so many times people don't really take care of themselves. We know we're supposed to eat healthy. Exercising is good for us and all that kind of stuff. But in the line of chiropractic care, whenever I wake up and I got a crick in my neck or I'm not feeling well, and to go see you and have you work on me, needle me, all these different things, and it gets me rolling again. So kind of talk about that a little bit as far as people taking better care of themselves. How do you help people in that way?
Yeah. So when Miss Stacey says it takes a lot to get you to the chiropractor, I can confirm that that's every man's story ever. So a lot of the people that I treat are women because they are better at this than we are. So, and it's the same for me sometimes. I'm even that way. I fall down that hole too. We want to tough it out. We think we can get through it. We don't necessarily want to ask for help as much. We don't ask for directions for sure. So why would we ask for directions with our body? But yeah, it is a bigger part of our life and than we give it credit for. What I experience as a chiropractor in the office is a lot of people coming in who, however many people that may be, that are all hurting usually in some way. And that affects them in different ways. And so I don't think we understand that when we're hurting, other parts of our life are suffering because of it.
Yes.
And so whether that be our job or our relationship with our wife, because we're a little more ornery that day.
Irritated.
It can be really tough to deal with a person like that. And so that was a learning curve for me, because that's all I deal with, is people that are hurting. And so and that's something I try to get into people's heads is, hey, this matters more than you think. We can all say we're tough and we all have high pain tolerances. I've heard that phrase. I should have kept count how many times people say that. But that doesn't necessarily mean, that's good.
Just because you're tolerating the pain well doesn't mean the other people around you are.
Yeah,
they may not be tolerating you.
Yes. Yeah. It's
because you're grouchy.
Yeah. I mean, and pain is a signal, right?
Yeah.
So pain is like a sign that something it maybe isn't quite right. And it would be like you driving down the road and you seeing that, that engine light come on. You're like, I'm really good at just driving with this engine light on. I mean, that's what we're saying when we say we have a high pain tolerance.
Yeah.
And that just means you're damaging your vehicle.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. It needs oil.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Get good at putting oil in.
Right. Well, I know, just the other day I worked on our landscaping here at the house, and this 53-year-old body up and down, in those flower beds all day long and hauling stuff, man, I was sore. I was hurting that evening, moving around like a 63-year-old, or some 63-year-olds be like, hey, wait, watch it. But my wife, I was taking that out on her because I was hurting. And after a while, she's like, you know what? I don't care if you work the fly bed or not. You're being a jerk.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like,
you were grouchier than normal. Not that you. I'm digging a hole for myself over here.
All right. I still love you like crazy.
Thank you.
How you like that shameless plug there, Carlos? Yeah. Got our producer over in the corner.
Classic.
But let's dig into that a little bit more as far as people hurting in their body and the check engine light comes on. So how are we supposed to handle stuff like that?
Yeah. So, well, everybody handles it differently. How we should handle it. Let's say, if you don't have a chiropractor, right, I think it's good to have that initial visit, in the bag, whether that's because you're in pain. I mean, it's the same thing with a primary care physician in my book. You want to have someone that you can get into touch with, that you can communicate with, that you can get in a little more quickly, because that new patient exam, and I mean, that all takes time. So to wait until it's, past that point of where you can wait, I mean, that's a hard place to be, because then you need an appointment right now. And unfortunately not everybody can come right now. And so I'd hate for people to have to wait too long. So it's good to have a relationship with a practitioner, beforehand. But when that pain comes around, hopefully that chiropractor in this case would have given you some tools to maybe work through some of those easier things. And this is why I loved CrossFit so much, is because we were introduced to things like foam rollers pretty early, things like lacrosse balls and bands and different stretches. I think that's a great, first barrier, before you go see somebody is, hey man, can I work this out on my own? And that's the goal as a chiropractor. Like, we are meant to be educators. That's what doctor really means, is to be an educator. And so if I can educate my patients to say, hey, when this comes about, let's try this first. You've got this easy access foam roller in the corner. Let's loosen your back up and see how it feels.
Well, I think everybody kind of has this idea of CrossFit of like, they're just a bunch of maniacs going out there and jumping on boxes and flipping tires and all that kind of stuff.
I mean, they're not completely wrong.
No, they're not.
I do a little bit of that, and that's why you have the reputation of getting hurt, because you're doing things like that.
And I was 45 whenever I started doing that. Like I said, did it for 7 years. But one of the things that was really kind of cool for me, it opened my eyes to I remember Dustin teaching us and training us in class, like you can do things, just modify it. Like you
Right.
see, like Ben up there, doing this move, and it's like, I can't do that. I'm, 45 years old and I'm fat. Modify that. And so I would tell everybody, I said, look, if I can do CrossFit, anybody can do CrossFit. But here's what really is wild about it. There were ways to take care of my body aside from just getting into shape that CrossFit taught me. The foam rollers, going to get a massage. Stacey used to go and get massages, and she was all like, I'm like,
I will go tomorrow.
That's
just give me some cash.
but to work out those bumps and bruises that you get within your body.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you and Dustin also would teach me stretching. It was like really about stretching your body and doing the things that you need to do.
And it's knowing your limitations your body.
That is correct. But how many times did we press that envelope?
A harder time.
Yeah.
Okay, women are better at that than guys. All right.
But I want to go back to the stretching aspect, because that's one thing that Dustin used to, just stress all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you do as well. You got to make sure that you stretch out. And it's such a big thing, because so many times we carry stress in our bodies and we hold on to things. And if we could just learn to take time to breathe and stretch and relax, man, it's so much better for our body, so much better for health.
For sure. Taking that time to just, I guess, really think about what your body is doing is hard for people. I mean, we're very much engaged with social media and screens and work and, what are the kids doing? And we don't really sit back and think like, well, how am I holding all this? Like stress specifically. For women, it's typically in the shoulders and the neck. I mean, that's what I've seen over and over and over again is so much tension in the traps. And sometimes it's because of what they do for a living, but sometimes it's just because they are stressed. And we just live our life here and we never think like, and just put those shoulders down. And for men, it's more low back. I don't remember the exact percentages, but I mean, it's over 70% low back in men and neck in women that are stress related. And so we tense up down here around the hips, the glutes, and the low back when we're stressed, and that's where we hold it. And so just knowing that information about yourself, like where do I hold my stress?
Yeah. Well, I tell you what's wild. I've always been about traditional care. That's one reason why I'm like, no, I'll just go to my doctor, which, I have a great doctor, and traditional care is wonderful, but you can't always fix everything with necessarily a prescription or something like that. And that's whenever, it kind of opened my eyes to whatever my body is hurting. My body is tensed up. I have a muscle that's pulled. I got a lot of stress. Going and seeing you taught me like, okay, these are things that we can do to treat that. And whenever I saw the results, I was like, okay, this is pretty wild. I had no idea that, I wake up, my neck is killing me. And then I can go and see you, and through heat, through massage, through needling, whatever it might be, we alleviate that. But it wasn't necessarily caused by the way I slept, but it's caused by I've been walking through a season of stress in my life, and I'm carrying that in my neck. And so I think that honestly, if we would learn to take care of ourselves and do the things that we know we should do, man, it would solve so many problems.
Well, I definitely think that, in times past when I've had issues, and yes, I verify that women carry that stress in their neck and shoulders and everything. But like when I had some lower back issues and some neck pain, I've learned, like you said, you try to help your patients, like give them tools of how they can manage that in the stretching and different aspects like that. Like if I even feel a tinge of pain, I'm doing certain stretches that either you showed me or like going through physical therapy, which there's such, in that aspect, there's similarities, right, with what you do and
Absolutely.
in some physical therapy, things that they show you. And so it's very much needed, and then to be proactive in that, to manage your stress.
Mm-hmm.
Now, have you ever been needled?
Yes.
I thought I didn't know you had done that. I thought that because you don't like needles.
No, I don't. As long as I don't see it, and I don't see it because it's my back or my neck. So,
Yeah, I had Ben take a picture one time. He was needling my back and my neck, and I'm like, I look like a daggum porcupine. And I had you take a picture of it and send it to Stacey because it was like, I think that was before you started getting needling. And then he takes that, I don't know, was it a TENS unit and hook it all up.
Oh yeah.
And next thing you know, man, you twitching and popping and jerking and all that because it's, working all those things out. But that's my favorite thing in the world. I love having that done.
But there's just so many different things, that you can do to help to manage the stress so that it won't get as bad as like you have to have an emergency, visit that you're taking better care of yourself.
Yeah. And we have done that, we try to get people because we know how it is. We know how it should be, and then we know how it is. Right. And when you're in pain and you're in a lot of pain, I mean, we will try to squeeze people in. And it's interesting because sometimes the answer to that stress in the office, it's not for me to maybe needle their traps. I've had people come in and they start talking about something that hurts them. And then in the middle of that conversation, they just say, I just miss my husband. And they had just lost someone, and that 20-minute appointment that's supposed to be full of treatment turns into a 20-minute just conversation.
Yeah.
And those were probably that was more beneficial for that person than anything I could have done with my hands. And that's not something that I was necessarily prepared for going into practice, I would say, but it's something that has happened multiple times.
Well, because I mean, we can kind of hold our emotions. It manifests in our bodies different ways. And so that I can see how that would be, sometimes just being adjusted or whatever could help. Yes, it's relieving stress, but there may be underlying things.
So you can take this as what you went into for an occupation's turn. It's more of a calling and a ministry.
It has become that.
Okay.
It has.
No, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So I have a question. I'm going to put you on the spot here. So we're talking about alleviating other people's stress and the things within their body. How do you do? Because I mean, it's not like you can work on yourself.
Do you have your own personal chiropractor?
I can't say that I haven't tried to work on myf.
Have you trained Emily? Like, hey,
she would have so much to say right now. I have coached my wife up a few times on, hey, press right there.
Yeah.
I need her to weigh about 300 pounds and she doesn't. But no, I do have some people that I definitely try to get to. I don't get to them as much as I would like to. I have a partner in Zachary, Dr. Pay at Zachary Spine and Sports Rehab. We try to link up every now and then. And then there's a few massage therapists in town that are great. One I visited recently, Brad Dixon, right there by Stabs, did a great job. So I do some massage, I do some chiro care. I try to exercise as much as I can, without, completely getting out of whack with timing everything with kids and wife and work. But at times, man, it's hard. Every chiropractor has the same schedule. So you got to take some time off and that means sacrifice.
So what you're telling me is because I know that you are healthy. I know that you somewhat try to watch your diet.
Somewhat.
Okay. All right. This
is
South
South
Louisiana.
It's hard when you live here.
I know you value, because this is what you do. This is your occupation to help people feel better in their body.
Right.
So anything you want to add to that as far as like the value of exercise and diet and stuff along that nature?
Yeah. So I would say and I asked a chiropractor, one of my mentors, before I went to school. And at the time I thought I had the answer to this question before I asked it. I was wrong. You hear that, honey? So I asked him, I said, what do you think is more important, working out consistently or your diet? And I was like, man, this guy's about to agree with me. It's working out. It absolutely is working out. And he said, dude, it's diet by far.
They say it's 80% diet.
Yeah. I mean, how do we quantify that? I don't know. But yes, it's what you put into your body is what you are. you know.
Yeah, but honey buns are delicious. I'm just
But
saying,
that's not
man.
a proper way to fuel your body.
Yeah, but they're still good.
That's
I mean,
a lot of sugar.
it is plenty of fuel as long as we're burning it.
Yes, okay.
We were at the gym one day, and Dustin was asking me about, because she knows that we were joking about baby sandwiches, the little sandwiches you eat at like weddings and stuff.
Right.
And it's like I normally only eat one sandwich for lunch.
Yeah.
But when you get baby sandwiches, you eat like 50.
Oh yeah.
That makes your one big sandwich.
And she told me one day, she said, well, maybe what you need to do is because I like Oreos, she said, in your diet, make room for a few Oreos. And I said, or a sleeve. And she said, what do you mean a sleeve? I said, well, I get the big box from Sam's, and there's 13 Oreos in a sleeve.
Yeah, I can verify that.
Well, she was like, you know how many
You
Oreos
know
are in
that
a sleeve? And I'm like, absolutely. I count them out.
That's
so
awesome.
she was like, well, maybe make room for that, but not 13.
Right.
So.
Yeah. You got to limit yourself. Yeah. No, I think the serving size for Oreos, I think it's 2, which is bizarre
That's not
to
even,
me.
the Lord's not in that.
That's
I'm
only
just
a
saying.
bite for him.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, nutrition is most of
Key.
what most of what we need to worry about. I see in the office all the time, just through the amount of inflammation in somebody's body. If you're eating everything that doesn't need to be refrigerated, chances are it's probably not the thing that you should be eating. That's the rule of thumb. Like if it needs to be refrigerated, if it expires, chances are it's real food, and you got a better shot of getting some nutrients out of that.
Okay.
So
how many days a week should because I get it. I mean, I know that diet is the majority of it, but how many days a week should somebody be actively, like just staying active, exercising, walking, whatever?
Yeah. So, and this, obviously, none of this information is meant for anybody specific. Everybody's situation is different. I would say it depends on the intensity of that exercise sometimes. So the exercise that we met doing, I would say 3 or 4 days a week is probably plenty. Some people like to go into that 5 or 6 range. But what I would say is we need to be moving every day. So that might just be walking outside. I say outside specifically because then you get the sun, you get some vitamin D, and that's a big deal, especially when you get into the winter months. But if you're not in a position where you can do 150 wall balls for time, maybe Karen. So
for those of you who done CrossFit, you know what he's talking about. You know what we're referring to when we talk about Karen. It's awful.
So if you can't do something highly intense like that, maybe more days a week of moderately intense exercise would be better for you. So maybe 5 or 6 days of moderate exercise.
So then it's okay if you don't do burpees. I know that's your favorite, Jay, is burpees.
Yeah, I was hoping we could do some burpees.
Burpees are the devil's
After
work.
this recording, y'all can go do burpees. Y'all have fun with that. No, but I know a lot of times, it's talked about just to get outside and walk, and just walking, or like if you have an Apple Watch, counting your steps or trying to get as many steps in as you can. That will help you. Right. If you can't do anything else, and maybe you have an injury or something like that, and you can't do much, just like you said, keep moving.
Well, I'll tell you what's funny. They used to say that, Dustin would tell us burpees are the number one exercise to keep people out of a nursing home. And the reason why is because why do most people go into a nursing home? Because you fall and you can't get up. But a burpee trains you fall and you pick yourself back up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't care. I hate them.
Wow. I do the modified version of burpee.
Yeah, no, and that's what I'm getting at is like the walking. I stress that to a lot of my patients because they are hurting, and in a perfect world, we are getting our heart rate up and we are sweating, multiple days a week.
So what you're saying is diet is the bulk of it, but exercise goes hand in hand with that. And find something you can do. Keep moving.
Yeah, something you enjoy, hopefully.
Walk. I know for us, we like to take walks together. And while we're on that walk, we eat a sleeve of Oreos.
You need a sleeve of Oreos.
It's a joke. But the things whenever your body's telling you, hey, get some help, get some care, to go see some traditional doctor, wonderful, but to go see someone who maybe could give you chiropractic care, whether it's be needling, adjustment, whether it's be, massage therapy, whatever. But to find somebody who can help you in that regard. Now, I want to kind of shift this conversation a little bit because we're talking more about your body, taking care of your body. But you kind of intrigued me whenever you said that you had a degree in vocal performance, because I did not know that. and you are one of the worship leaders at our Watson campus. For the listeners who don't know this, we pastor church. We have 2 campuses, and we launched the Watson campus almost 4 years ago. But you've kind of taken on the reins there of being the worship leader at this point, and leading in that regard. You probably didn't even realize when you were going for vocal performance that maybe you'd wind up using that gift for the Lord one day. But kind of talk about that a little bit. What is that like I know I've been married to a worship leader for years, but for you, what does that look like? What does that, what does that mean to you to lead in that regard?
It's, I want to answer that immediately with fulfilling. Okay. But yeah, so I never got like a full degree in vocal performance, and I hadn't used any of those skills that I learned there for a long time. I did a lot of karaoke. That's about it, but being able to, coming back to my hometown, where I was very much into CrossFit and chiropractic care at that time, and making connections with you, with Tyler, and I think how this all came about with the worship. I think it was Memorial Day. I think it was Murph.
Yep.
And
I didn't even know you could sing.
And so I told Dustin or Bert or whoever was there that morning, hey, I can sing the national anthem if y'all want. And I had done that. That was the one live like a cappella thing that I really enjoyed doing once a year. And that was my outlet at that time. And so I did that. And I don't know if Tyler was there or he saw the video or what, but we had a conversation about it later.
That was your audition and you didn't even know it.
Right. Yeah. I didn't know what I was doing at the time, but yeah, that's how I got into it. And what has come from that I guess that was 2019. It was before COVID. What started with that has turned into something that I could not have imagined. I know we had a conversation recently. We done something at Central, and we just caught each other in the hallway, me and you, and we just reminisced for about 30 seconds about like, man, you remember, where this started? And
Look where you're at now.
Yeah. And I was like, I couldn't imagine it.
Well, that's like I said, I didn't even know you could sing. And for listeners who don't, know what you talk about Murph.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, you need to tell everybody what that is.
What you want to tell everybody what it is?
I can do
it's
that.
Awful.
It's a CrossFit thing.
It's coming up. If anybody's interested,
I'm not doing it.
Yeah, okay. Well,
been there, done that. You've done it a few times.
So it is a hero workout. They call it a hero WOD. WOD just stands for workout of the day. And it's called Murph. I'm not going to go into who, I think it's Robert Murphy. I believe, but Michael Murphy.
Yeah,
Michael Murphy. Sorry.
If you've ever seen Lone Survivor, he's one of the officers in that.
Such an amazing story and movie, but the workout is not so amazing. It is awful.
What was it? Not his personal workout or similar to something that he did every day?
Similar for sure. Yeah. And what it is it's a mile run. Well, and if you're doing it as prescribed, it's with a 20-pound vest. It starts with a mile run. It's 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 air squats, and then another mile run. Break it up however you want. And
it sounds exhausting.
It is.
Well, on average,
it's not
for
an
me,
easy.
And the older I got, the more I saw this, that it took me about a week to recover from that. It was a long recovery process. And so my goal was to do the workout and break a 60 minutes. And the last year that I did it like 58 minutes and 30 seconds. I'm like, I'm done. I'm out. So I hadn't done it in several years.
Yeah. So that's the workout that obviously you would sing the national anthem for.
Yeah. And so it's called the Murph, and it is brutal, but it's a great, and you don't have to do it. They have the half Murph, the quarter Murph, all these different things. But it's great to be able to get in that community with other people and you cheering each other on, and it's exciting.
It's just a way of honoring the veterans.
Right. And it's amazing. It's amazing what you can accomplish when it's for something else like that. Like you've got something else in mind that day.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Well, I'm not doing it this year.
There's still time.
I might go cheer some other people on, but we talk about, where you started at, to hear you sing, it was just like, man, that's awesome. And to see where God has brought you, and your precious little wife, your family, what God's doing in y'all and through y'all, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really has been a blessing to not just me, but to our family. I mean, like anything else, there are commitments involved, and you make sacrifices for those commitments, but it's something that I would do over and over and over again, because of what it's been for me. I mean, I always joke and say the worship team was my first life group, which might not be the way to go about it necessarily for everybody, but for me, that's just how it happened. Yeah. And being around those people, growing with those people, and now leading some of those people.
Yeah, and just being part of the team, and which friends turn into family. Yeah. Closer relationships. That's great.
Well, I tell you, this has kind of been a cool episode, because I don't know if we've ever done one talking about health. And I know we've talked about self-care, but this one's different, talking about exercise and chiropractic care and massage therapy and all those different things. Right. It's a very different episode, but I'm glad we did it. I just, they were like, what are you going to talk to Ben about? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just kind of fascinated by what he does, his job.
Well, it's important for us to, to be mindful to take care of our bodies, and that when something's wrong with our body, it's giving us a signal that we need to not be like all the men in the world and not go to the doctor or ask for help, or,
Yeah.
So guys, get some care for your body and put down that honey bun.
That sleeve of Oreos.
Yeah. Well,
okay, quick story. I did when he was doing CrossFit, and he would sneak the Oreos, and I would find him hiding out in the pantry eating the Oreos. No lie.
It's
and
true.
I'm like, what
True
are
story.
you doing? You're not supposed to be eating that.
They're so good, and I'm so ashamed.
So in marriage, that's another aspect of keeping each other accountable.
I literally would hide in the pantry and eat Oreos in the dark.
He would.
Because they're so good.
But your sin would surely find you out.
That's amazing.
Oh, man. Well, Ben, thank you for joining us today. It's been great.
A great conversation.
Anything you want to add before we wrap up?
I think we covered, I don't know, more than I thought we would. Yeah. So it's been good.
I think the takeaway today is get to moving.
Yes.
Watch that diet. And if you need, some care for your body, reach out and get help. Guys, especially, I know that we have a bad habit of trying to fix things on our own, or this will fix it on its own. And sometimes it's okay to step out and get help. Mm-hmm. So anything you want to add, Stacey, before we wrap up?
I think this is a great conversation.
It's been a lot of fun. It's good to be able to sit with a good friend and talk about these things, and bringing back the CrossFit days. Dustin's going to listen to this. She'll be like, all right, he's coming back. So,
where y'all been?
Yeah, where you been?
You don't have to do CrossFit per se, but you just need to exercise.
Yeah, that's true. But although we talked about that the other day, and we were like, yeah, we probably need to get back into doing some working out's one thing, but CrossFit's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, that's a whole nother level.
It's awesome. So I just want to thank everybody for being a part of this episode today. And like I said, if you've enjoyed this, make sure that you share this with all your friends. And on our YouTube channel, make sure you click that button that says subscribe, because that helps us to build this channel. And we have had a wonderful time today talking about taking care of our body, being healthy in a lot of different ways. And we've enjoyed having you as part of this episode. Ben, thank you so much for being here today. And as always, I'm Jay.
And I'm Stacey.
And this is Love Like Crazy.